The person with the head on their shoulders, the go-to person, the person you go to when you need some help.
He doesn't hand out praise. He doesn't play favorites. When Al Pacino speaks about another actor, the room tilts, because he only speaks when it matters.
Pretty much everything Bob does, everything I've seen, beyond belief.
For 5 decades, he's bent the screen around him. Yet behind every iconic performance sits a private map, a few names he refuses to let fade. This isn't a list, it's a compass. Each name points to a principle: permission to feel, the discipline of subtraction, the sharpening force of a peer, the sanctity of presence, and the quiet that haunts.
I think I learned more about acting from John than anybody.
Pacino doesn't compete with these figures, he absorbs them. He listens to what their work says about risk, control, and truth. When he honors someone, it's never casual, it's precise, like naming a saint. Watch till the end, because Pacino's number one isn't the loudest legend in the room, it's the quietest echo that never stopped guiding him. Number 5. James Dean. Some legends don't teach, they shock you awake. For Pacino, James Dean wasn't a chapter in film history, he was an electrical surge. Picture a young kid in the Bronx, sitting in a cheap theater, watching East of Eden. Dean didn't play emotion, he leaked it, raw and unpolished, like a confession that slips past your defenses and lingers for days. Pacino later described Dean like a jazz player, half a beat ahead of the measure, discovering lines in the instant, not reciting them from memory. Dean didn't bring the armor of technique, he brought the risk of exposure. He twitched, stalled, breathed, and the camera recorded a person mid-collision with himself. That was the permission Pacino didn't know he needed. Feel more, risk more, break more. It's the hidden wire running through Michael Corleone's glacial silence and Frank Serpico's wounded volatility. The sense that under every choice there's a breakable heart. Dean made only 3 films, then vanished. Too fast, too bright. But impact isn't measured in minutes, it's measured in aftershocks. Pacino didn't copy Dean. He absorbed the law Dean proved. The bravest act on screen is restraint that still bleeds. Dean was the spark. Pacino carried the flame. And every time a Pacino pause speaks louder than dialogue, you can feel that first jolt return. Sparks fade if they're left alone. Pacino kept his alive and turned a one-time shock into a lifelong standard. Number 4. Meryl Streep. The quietest actor in the room can own it. When Pacino talks about Meryl Streep, his voice doesn't rise, it sharpens. What stuns him isn't size, it's precision. Streep doesn't layer tricks on top of a character, she sands away everything false until only something living remains. She can fold her arms and give you a decade of backstory. She can exhale and change the temperature of the frame. Pacino calls this invisible work, the kind that refuses theatrics yet commands devotion. On sets around her, people whisper not out of fear, but focus, the way you do when something delicate and exact is happening. He said working with Streep didn't make him want to impress, it made him want to listen. That's the secret. She tunes the room so truth can be heard. In a career full of heat, Streep taught Pacino a colder virtue: subtraction. Remove the reach, remove the noise, let the scene walk to you. If James Dean gave permission to feel, Streep gave permission to wait, to let meaning arrive on its own feet. Minimalism isn't emptiness, it's concentration. The frame grows charged because nothing is wasted. Pacino learned that the boldest choice can be the quietest. One glance that rewires a scene. One breath that tilts a fate. And once you've learned to wait like that, you're ready to stand opposite the only peer who can still make you nervous. Number 3. Robert De Niro. Not rivalry, recognition. Pacino and Robert De Niro don't cancel each other, they complete a circuit. Same generation of intensity, different temperatures. If Pacino is pressure and flame, De Niro is ice that fractures from within. Pacino once likened working with him to playing tennis with a wall. Everything you send returns sharper, demanding you rise to meet it. Their coffee shop scene in Heat is practically silent cinema, 2 men saying almost nothing while communicating entire biographies. The table becomes an arena. You don't act at De Niro, you act around him, inside the gravity he creates. He doesn't push, he bends space. That's why the room feels different when he sits down. Pacino has spoken of De Niro not as a rival, but as an instrument that tunes you tighter, simply by existing across from you. De Niro didn't offer advice, he offered example. Raging Bull wasn't just a performance, it was a provocation, a dare to go further into the cost of becoming someone else. Pacino is too proud to imitate, too smart to ignore. Facing De Niro is like looking into a mirror that refuses to flatter you. What comes back isn't comfort, it's clarity. Their chemistry isn't built on friendship tropes, it's built on mutual obsession with depth. Each forces the other to shave off the lie and hold the gaze. If Dean lit the fuse and Streep honed the blade, De Niro hammers the steel on the anvil. Pacino leaves those encounters tightened, tuned, and just a little more dangerous. Number 2. Marlon Brando. Pacino has called Marlon Brando a magician, the kind who didn't act, he became. On The Godfather, Pacino was still a question mark to the studio, a young force the system didn't fully trust. Brando watched him, clocked the stillness, and offered the cleanest line an elder can give the next in line. This kid's good. It wasn't a favor, it was recognition, one fire nodding to another. What Brando handed Pacino wasn't technique, it was permission to take up space without filling it. To sit, breathe, and make the camera come to you. Brando's revolution wasn't noise, it was negative space. He could whisper and make it thunder. He could pause and turn the audience into accomplices. Pacino learned that power and never gave it back. Awards and myths orbit Brando, but the real legacy is craft made sacred. He made vulnerability masculine without apology. He made hesitation eloquent. He proved that truth on screen is louder than volume. Pacino didn't need a mentor. He needed a North Star. Brando fixed one in his sky, and the path got simple. Less performance, more presence. Even now, when Pacino lets silence do the heavy lifting, you can see Brando's blueprint in the margins. Legends open doors. Saints change architecture. Brando changed the room itself, so actors after him could breathe a different air. Number 1. John Cazale. Most actors leave an impression. John Cazale left a hole. 5 films, 5 Best Picture nominees, then he was gone. In that brief blaze, he altered the temperature of every scene he touched. He didn't grandstand, he didn't collect speeches. He carried a trembling honesty that made everyone around him more precise. Pacino didn't work with Cazale. He worked inside him, the way 2 musicians lock into timing so tight you forget whose part started first. As Fredo in The Godfather, Cazale didn't play a villain, he played a wound. The heartbreak isn't the betrayal, it's the inevitability, the sense that life cornered a soft man and he folded the only way he knew how. Pacino has said all he wanted was to keep partnering with John because John made everything deeper. In Dog Day Afternoon, Cazale's near silence is the essential counterweight to Pacino's live wire. Without that stillness, the fire would flare and vanish. With it, the blaze becomes a story. When Cazale fell ill during The Deer Hunter, friends fought to keep him in the film. Loyalty wasn't sentimental, it was artistic necessity. Pacino has admitted that before big scenes, he still thinks about John. Not as nostalgia, but as calibration. What would Cazale do? Probably less. And in doing less, mean more. That's why he sits at number 1. Legends can change your direction. Family changes your decisions. Cazale is Pacino's private compass. Invisible to most, unmistakable once you know it's there. Trace the map and you see it. Dean gave permission. Streep subtracted noise. De Niro sharpened the edge. Brando sanctified presence. And Cazale became the compass. Pacino doesn't collect favorites. He carries lessons. Which name hit you hardest, and why? Drop your take below. And if you want more deep dive stories like this, hit subscribe. The best actors don't just perform, they haunt.